Welcome to Ren Behind the Practice. I'm Sophie Campisi. I'm a holistic business strategist and startup expert, and I spend a lot of my time in conversation with practitioners, coaches, and healers about the behind the scenes of their businesses. What I started noticing is that some of the most honest, important conversations about building a practice were happening quietly, one-on-one, behind the scenes, and often in isolation. Most practitioners are incredibly skilled at the work they do with their clients, but very few of us were ever taught or trained in how to build a successful startup business. And suddenly we've been left to figure it out on our own. This podcast exists to bring those conversations forward. The dreams, the uncertainty, the highs and lows, the recalibrations, and the messy middle. My hope is that by normalizing these conversations, we can soften the stigma, feel less alone, and start closing the gaps together. Today's guest is Christina Guillen. Christina helps women in leadership stop overthinking, get clear, and build real momentum in their business and life. She's the founder of Thriving Women in Leadership, where they turn insight into action through community, strategy, and powerful conversations. Christina, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up and having this conversation with me.
Thanks so much for having me, Sophie.
Before we look behind the scenes today, can you share with us a little bit more about the work that you do?
Yes. So, goodness, I love working with women, and the majority of my work has focused on that, at least now. So, I am currently a professional facilitator, but I haven't always been. I used to be a body worker for 15 years. So that's where a lot of my roots come from, is working physically on bodies, one-on-one, and helping people move through life. So a lot of the work that I do now in facilitating spaces for women professionally, I include things such as somatic work and breath work predominantly, especially because most of the stuff I do is online. And the main portion of my business right now is Thriving Women in Leadership, where I host anywhere from 10 to 13 different events throughout the month for women around speed networking, co-working, a mastermind, skill building. And then I also have my dietitian who she comes in once a month and teaches us about ourselves, how to be healthier as women in leadership through our nutrition, our sleep, our hormones. Because I don't know if we're fully aware, but as women who hold space for other people, we spend so much more testosterone than a woman who doesn't. And we need extra care for that because we burn out much faster.
These events, these are primarily or all virtual events, these monthly events that you do?
Yes, I do have a quarterly in-person event that I do locally in Long Beach, California. We do a mastermind. It's my flagship event. It's the event that got me to build this community. And I do love convening in person, but my women come from all over the place. So, yeah.
And so when you started sharing about your work, you said that now you are primarily a facilitator. Is that, I was going to ask what exactly you meant by that, but is that part of, facilitating these group calls, this community through the group calls?
Yes. So I went to a company called Exchange and got certified through them. What they predominantly do is teach you how to facilitate conversations, connections, psychological safety within a group experience. So when I first started doing this, I thought I was going to go into corporate America and help change the workforce. And while I still offer those services, where I have predominantly landed is creating my own space and community for women.
Really cool. So you mostly work in group settings. Do you even do one-on-ones anymore? It's mostly group.
It's mostly group, though. In June, I know this is coming out May 13th. In June, I am launching something called the Momentum Accelerator, and I have 3 spots for one-on-one. And predominantly, what we're going to be doing is moving from the big group that I have to a much smaller cohort. We'll have up to 10 people in this cohort, and then that's the group. And then the one-on-one, I can take up to three people who want to go from where it is they are and to where it is they see themselves being It's the person who they know that they want, they know how to get there, but for some reason they're not doing the work. They're avoiding it. They're doing the dishes instead. They're doing the fun thing of like finding new pens and different colors and making their desk cute and stuff like that, as opposed to doing the stuff that's going to move the needle forward. I tend to execute. I come up with an idea and I execute and I go and I do it. And I had a girlfriend come to me and say, "You get stuff done. Can you help me do that?" And I said, "Sure. Let's see what that looks like." So I took her on as a one-on-one coaching client. And her focus wasn't on making money. It was on getting systems and her organization and then her personal life together. So unfortunately, she can no longer afford to do one-on-one. So I'm literally building the group for her so that we can continue to work together. I love working with her, but I also need to be compensated. That's why I'm building that. And I have extra room on my calendar for more people.
Really cool. The people that, how long ago did you shift from being a body worker to this work?
Why it wasn't linear. I
Yeah.
actually shifted from being a body worker to working in marketing. I went and looked for a job in anything and everything that I could find. And I landed at a pediatric dental company doing the marketing for one location. But within 6 months, I found out that that company didn't have a marketing department. They had 8 locations. So within 6 months, I went from one location to all 8, hiring people, setting up systems, hiring, training, coming up with training manuals, and cleaning up their digital marketing, which it was like going to school on crack. It was intense. And I was there for 3 years. When I left, they had 14 locations. I trained 2 of my employees to take over my job. And one of those employees is still with the company and is still running the marketing department. So I'm really proud of her. But yeah, I went from that to doing more of what I'm doing now. And then I actually have another period of time where I was going to partner with another company when I left there. It was a spiritual shop and she wanted her marketing handled and she wanted to franchise. And I'm scrappy. I figure things out. So I was like, well, I don't know how to franchise, but I can figure it out for you. And within a very short period of time of leaving my job to going to work with her, we figured out that we were not a match. So I exited that, started my own company, and then had a little bit of a meltdown and took some time off to heal, to breathe. And then last year, in the beginning of January of 2025, is when I went and got certified to be a facilitator and started working with a couple companies and doing a few things. And then January of this year, I figured out that I loved working with women in business. I missed my women in business. And I did an event essentially at cost and had a high for 5 days and was like, I want more of this. So then I launched a community and I'm never looking back. This is amazing. I love it.
I'm about to ask you about your goals for the next 6 months, but before I do that, this might be kind of dabbling into where we're going to get in a little bit, but how was the transition? Because you were doing marketing for physical brick and mortar locations, which is a
Mhm.
totally different ball game to on the whole landscape of online businesses. How has that transition been? Was that part of the meltdown that happened in that transition? I talk to a lot of people that make that similar shift, and it's like something they're like, wow, I didn't even realize how different they were. How's that been for you?
Mm. I actually feel like they're super similar in that all it is it's relationships. It's getting to know people. It's shaking hands. It's talking to people. That was the business, the marketing model that I walked into with the dental company. They did in-person marketing. They had us go to other dental offices and bring gifts, to doctors' offices and bring gifts and talk to them and tell them about our location and tell them about the insurances that we have. So while it wasn't traditional networking, it was networking in a very strategic way. And In the other side of things with that company, their digital blueprint was non-existent. And so I brought them into starting to do digital networking, digital marketing, which is definitely different than doing a one-on-one or group type coaching space. But the in-person marketing is very, very similar. So I would offer that. But what I am finding is that it is so important to do in-person networking. And there's not a brick and mortar in general for me to go to like I would with a dental office. I have to go to networking groups. And one of the things that I'm noticing when I do go to networking groups is that people don't know who is their super supporter. Who's the person that has your clientele that you want to connect with? Like for a massage therapist, that used to be chiropractors, but most chiropractors now have massage therapists. So it's no longer a chiropractor. So who else would it be? It might be a psychologist. It might be an acupuncturist. It might be a doctor. It might be what do you call those people? The ones that help get you fit. It might be a nutritionist. It might be a sports specialist or a physical trainer. That's what I was looking for. Personal trainer.
Totally. So, what I'm hearing you say is the reason it hasn't been so different is because you've been approaching building your online business the same way, with the pillar being you still need to get out, have conversations, shake hands. And that is something that most people get lost on when they are building these online practices. They'll build in isolation. And it's like, well, if I just write the perfect copy, it's going to work. And it's like, no, you need to have real conversations with real people in real time, however you can do it, whether it's in person or whether it's now digital networking. We have avenues for doing that. But it's so huge. I mean, it's so huge. It's so important. And I think that so many people get swept into building in isolation when you're a solopreneur building an online business, and that can be straight to the startup graveyard, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually why I built Thriving Women in Leadership was I don't want women to do this alone. Like we don't have to. And the whole thing about like having the perfect copy, the problem is, so when the internet first came out and marketing went online, yes, it was all about having the perfect copy. It was about knowing what to put out there, but now it's noisy. It is so noisy and the competition is thick. It's no longer about that. It's about who are you? Can I trust you? Especially in this world of ChatGPT and AI of are you even real? Is this an actual person that I'm talking to and looking at? Is this video human or is this a copy of a human being? Whereas when you're online in a Zoom room meeting, doing a networking event or in person at your local BNI or whatever chamber of commerce, whatever you choose to go to do something in person, you know that that's a human being in front of you. And we are craving connection right now. People are so lonely right now.
1,000%. It's trust building is, I mean, it's everything. It's not talked about nearly enough. And building trust today, and you already acknowledged this, it is even from COVID times to today, building trust online is totally different. What consumers are craving is totally different. It takes much more. It takes much more to build trust than it did 10 years ago online. And we have to get creative. And it sounds like you're doing a great job at this, thinking outside the box, incorporating other things, seeing what works, what is actually building trust, what is actually cultivating connection, and coming out of the stuff that's just not working for people. When you look ahead to the next 6 to 12 months, what goals do you have for your work and your business?
That brings me into like other projects that are in the works as well. So, Thriving Women in Leadership, which is what the predominant thing that we've been talking about, I want that to grow. I want to have, right now, I have a 64 members, but those are all free and paid members. And on the membership side, I have 13 paid members, which when I compare myself to other networking groups and people who have started out, I'm actually doing really well for having launched February 16th. But I would really love to, in the next 6 months, have a base of at least 50 paid members who are consistently coming to meetings. And then on the other side, which we haven't talked about, is a project that's really near and dear and highly personal for me. And that would be what is it called? It's Survivor to Thriving.com. That's just the landing page. You can also find it on my website from thrivevibe.com. But that is a group of women who are survivors of sexual and physical assault, as well as women who are feeling scared in this political climate and what's happening in the world right now. And yeah, that is, it's right now it's monthly meetings. And my goal in the next 6 to 12 months is to have an in-person retreat for women where we can rage out and let our anger out. It's infuriating what's happening to us. And yeah, so that's what's happening in that space. But as I wait for that to happen, I'm having monthly meetings that are much lighter. We don't talk about our trauma. We ground in, then we release, and then we come back to some kind of somatic or meditation or breath work that brings us back to our bodies, and we ground out and we calm our nervous system so that we can go out into the world. Because I don't want to re-traumatize anybody. I don't want to do any of that. I want us to feel stronger until we have the space in person to let it all out. But I don't do that online. And then the surprising thing that's happened is by being public about this and my own trauma history, I've had a lot of men come to me into my DMs, in my comments. And so I am currently in search of a male facilitator. I have someone that I'm talking to next week about this, whether or not he'd like to partner with me. And we are looking at launching something in June for men and doing that more on a quarterly basis, because I think that's going to be slower of a build, but who knows? We'll see. And so that's happening. And then there's more stuff to go with that. I'm hoping within 12 months to have a curriculum for men and how to be allies for women. It's not just about protecting us. It's about standing up in the locker room. It's about talking. It's about not allowing men to ogle us in their presence or talk, degrade us in a room full of men, and to let men know that's not okay. It's a whole bunch of other stuff besides just, I'm a big protector and I'm going to protect the woman when somebody else comes. And then the thing after that is building workshops to go into schools and to teach children about consent, because I want to start at the root, because the next generation, I don't want them to have the problems that we're having now. So that's some of the stuff that I really want to get moving with.
So powerful. Thank you for all of the work that you're doing. Let's take that first metric, the 50 paid members. What do you think it's going to take to get there?
50 paid members. What is it going to take together? It's going to take a lot of networking. It's going to take, so right now, currently, women can come to 2 events for free. All of my events are open to the public, but they have to pay for them individually, a la carte, except for my speed networking. I do speed networking twice a month, and women can come and get a taste for what it is that I do and the kind of space that I hold. So it's going to continue to do that, and probably pivoting and doing different things. So we didn't talk about what I've done to build to where I am. I made the events free essentially up until now. I was going to charge in April, but April was my birthday, and I was like, you know what? I want to be generous. Like, let's let everybody in, like, whatever, come and play with me. Let's have some fun. So I did that. So May is actually the first month where I'm charging for all of the events. And what I also did, because it was free, all the paid members who paid me in February and March and in April, their membership got retroacted. They won't be charged for their membership again until May of 2027. So I've literally just been pivoting as I go, and I'm sure I'll be pivoting even more. I have some ideas of giving away like a membership for a week to a month, to give people a taste of what's happening and what's going on, as well as doing things like this, being on podcasts, being on other people's platforms and telling them about what I'm doing and inviting other women to come and join. One of the things I wasn't going to do was have a free membership, and I've pivoted that as well. So I have a private group where we convene. It's no longer on Facebook, and I'm trying to move them from Facebook onto my own platform so that we own everything as opposed to Facebook owning everything. Um, so that I've shifted from it being only paid members to allowing women to come in for free, but there are channels that they don't have access to. They can't have the events for free, but what they do get is, because I currently have all my events on Eventbrite, they get $5 off by being a free member. So they do get some perks. So yeah, little things of how do I incentivize women to come in and join me and be an active participant.
Yeah, your mindset about pivoting is, coming from the startup landscape, from my lens, it is really proper. Like when you are in startup land, if you can approach the phase with curiosity and wonder and knowing that everything you're doing is giving you more data so that you can pivot and fine tune and tweak, your ability to navigate that startup phase is going to be so much more flowy. Of course, it's still hard, right? Like we're entrepreneurs, we're solopreneurs. Like it's still difficult. It's not easy. But if you can find a way to approach it and knowing there are going to be pivots because I'm going to learn and I'm going to adjust and I'm going to make it better and I'm going to, you can find a lot of joy in it because when you pivot, you were doing that so that you could pivot, so that you could do a better job at meeting your people where they are instead of feeling like something went wrong if you pivoted, which most people, because they don't have that fluidity like you're describing, think, oh no, something went wrong. I need to hang on to how I was because, and so huge acknowledgement and nod to you for approaching it the way that you're approaching, because your ability to flow through the startup phase is going to be, a lot less friction.
Thank you. And actually, that reminds me, you brought up that you are a startup expert, and I want to say thank you, because what I have noticed throughout my years of being an entrepreneur, which I'm going to date myself a little bit here, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18, from being a massage therapist to trying to sell crystals to being a business coach for a short period of time, finding out that wasn't my thing, to now being a facilitator. Like when I've purchased all the courses, I've done all the things, and what I have found is that predominantly all that noise, all the marketing, all the go and do this, people are teaching what to do from the standpoint of already have landed, already having the following, already having all the things in place. They're teaching from where they are now or where they were like a step back. They're not teaching what to do from the very beginning.
1,000%. This is what's not getting talked about. That is what is causing so much of the, and we spoke before we started, the amount of money that I invested and wasted into coaches, business coaches, consultants, courses, even well-meaning meta ads people and just like contractors, was because everyone was treating me like I was in the growth phase, but I wasn't. I hadn't nailed, found that sweet spot. The business lingo is product market fit. I call it offer market match, the OM sweet spot. Until you've navigated the startup phase and nailed that sweet spot, you aren't in growth phase, and everyone's giving us growth tactics. But if you aren't actually there, it will not work. It's going to be wasted time, money, resources, and energy, and it's going to be very confusing. That is 95+% of the time what's going on when people aren't able to figure it out. No one's talking about the startup phase. I had investors early on in my business who were successful businessmen and women who also weren't aware why they were employees of successful companies. They weren't startup entrepreneurs. They had no idea. They were advising me and putting money into me like I had product market fit and like I was growing and I wasn't. So that was really confusing. I was like, oh my gosh, all the guilt and the shame and all this stuff,
Mhm.
but it's not that anyone's wrong, including us. It's that this is just missing, within business, there are so many different distinctions, and startup entrepreneurship is a whole different ball game. I've used this metaphor on this podcast before. It's like bringing golf gear to a soccer game or bringing soccer gear to the golf green. It doesn't really translate exactly over.
Girl, I
Some of
got
the,
another one for you.
yeah, let's hear it.
It's like someone teaching you how to run, but you haven't even crawled yet. You
For
gotta
sure.
crawl first on the ground. And then you gotta be that little baby who's like holding on to the side of the couch and like pumping your legs up and down and trying to like build those leg muscles to be able to stand. And then once you stand, then you get to take that first step and then the next one. And we're still not running. Like we're not there yet. Girl, we gotta crawl first.
And no one's teaching people how to do it. And
Yeah.
that is now what I'm doing is exactly that, because no, that's what I needed. All of that time when I was floundering for 10 years and investing and trying to figure it out, I needed someone to show me how to progress through the startup phase. And no one was doing that until they did, right? Until they did. But I had to figure that out, man. Like I had to go kicking and screaming and not giving up, and how I hung on that far to be able to find that. But yeah, everything that you're saying, absolutely. And a missing piece, one thing that I'll add to that is it's now the first point of contact that I have with people. Not first point of contact, but my base offer. One of the biggest things that is missing is people are missing diagnosis. So if you hire someone, they're trying to fix something, but they're never diagnosing. So it's like bringing your car to the shop because it's not starting, and they'll be like, okay, let me just fix this. And you'd be like, no, why would I pay you to fix something if you don't know if that's the problem? But that's generally what's going on for us is we're going in, someone's like, oh, try this bell and whistle or do this. We're bringing our air quotes car to the shop, but we're never getting that diagnosis. And so we're often fixing stuff that isn't actually the problem. And so when I, was working my work backwards, I realized like this is the first actually breakdown in the whole thing is base level, people aren't diagnosing. They're just starting to fix or adding something on. And we're missing this huge vital thing of the diagnosis phase. Can someone accurately diagnose you before they say, here, come try my service? If they're not, no one's wrong. I mean, people are well-meaning. They also don't know how to do that or that this is missing. But again, like it's very logical. We wouldn't bring our car to the shop and let them fix stuff before they diagnosed it. But that's what we're doing with our businesses.
Mm. That makes me think of some analogies with our medical industry, but I'm going to stay away from
Yeah. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you if you could wave a magic wand and have one thing solved or fixed for you in your building process, what would it be?
I think it would be that I would have built my systems first. I would have had my CRM built, handled, all my tags pre-done, had a way to capture information, such as name, email, and now we have cell phone numbers. I wish I had had that. There are so many people that I lost their the opportunity to stay in contact with them. Yeah, that I think would be, that's not quite the question you asked me, but I'm going retroactively of what I wish I could wave my magic wand in the past and fix. If I was going to fix something right now, I don't know. Maybe right now I'd like to know the exact strategy that I need to take right now. I'm taking a whole bunch of different strategies and seeing what's going to stick. Like right now, I'm about to hire a setter who would be making 25 phone calls for me a day. And then I get to talk to the people that they pre-qualify as being fitting for my momentum accelerator that's coming up in June. And I don't know if that's going to work. It's going to cost me some money, but it's a strategy that is similar to networking and communication, and it's going to save me time. And yeah, and I'm talking to a couple different agencies who offer that, and seeing what that looks like, and seeing if it's going to work.
Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap up today?
I just want to say thank you to those who are listening because this is for people who are healers and practitioners, men and women who I know I've been talking a lot about women. Thank you for the men who are here who want to do this work. Thank you to the women who are saying yes. I assume that similarly to myself and every other healer that I've ever met, you have your own wounds, you have your own hurts. And I want to remind you to never forget about yourself. Give from the overflow, my friend. Please, please take care of you. We tend to take care of our clients first. We tend to take care of our families first. Please take care of you because you'll burn out, you'll injure yourself, all those things. That's another lesson that I wish I could go back to the 18-year-old me who was a massage therapist who blew out both of my shoulders, who hurt my back, who allowed my clients to dictate my life and my schedule. I wish I had had more boundaries. I wish I had put myself first in everything because the reality is when I put myself first, when I give from my overflow, it feels so much, I can be so much more generous and it feels so much better to the people who are interacting with me. And I tend to attract way better clients who are way more supportive of me, my business, my vision when I give from overflow as opposed to from the very depths of my soul and the very last drops that I have, because those people tend to be a little bit more of like, I hate to say it, but like bloodsuckers. Let's have the people in our lives who are generous and who want us to be healthy. When you choose you, they will choose themselves and you as well. So yeah, I think that's where I'd like to leave that.
Christina, thank you so much for joining me today to have this conversation. And for those of you who are listening, if any part of this resonated, you're in the right place, please reach out. I want to hear from you. And if you want to reach Christina directly, the links to her website and to her programs are in the show notes. Thank you again, Christina, and to everyone else, thank you for listening. And we'll see you for the next episode of Ren Behind the Practice.